Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alice Perjean, and today we're going to be talking about the full moon in Virgo of 2023. And this full moon is occurring on March 7th at 7:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Pacific Standard Time would be 4:40 a.m. And then of course you can translate these time frames into your time zone wherever you are in the world. So with this full moon in Virgo, we know with all full moons, the moon is opposing the sun. So this is occurring at 16 degrees and some minutes of Pisces and Virgo, sun in Pisces, moon in Virgo. And what's interesting about this full moon is that about 55 minutes after the exact full moon, Saturn enters Pisces for the beginning of its cycle, which is going to be for 2.5 years in Pisces. And so this is pretty prominent whenever we have a planet that begins a cycle at any of the, full moons or new moons. This is particularly potent and will play out for the next 6 months. And so one of the things to consider about this full moon is, well, first of all, in your natal chart, where is this occurring? Where is the full moon happening? Because this is the aspect of life where you can really see the results of the last 6 months, where we began a cycle with a new moon in Virgo. And so the house that this is occurring in is going to correlate to the aspect of life that you've been working with, this particular Virgoan consciousness, right? And so at the full moon, we're looking at the results of the last 6 months and how we've been working with that new moon initiation occurring at the new moon. And when we've got an opposition with the sun and the moon, the sun is really shining the light on how it's reflecting, or is our internal world in alignment with what is being reflected in the external world? Are we really how we've been taking action on the new moon initiations from the last 6 months? Has it given us the result where we're aligning with that initiation, that seed point that we were intending and focusing and funneling our consciousness through at the new moon 6 months ago, right? So with this Virgo full moon, by the way, it's happening at 16 degrees. So the interesting thing about this is that the full moon then is trining Uranus in Taurus. And so this again can be really, are we aligning with the updated versions of that which we desire in our life? And I say desire because Venus is the planetary guide to Taurus consciousness. It's the inner form of Venus. And so this is about our desires that stem from internally, from our own soul, right? From our own unconscious mind, Pluto and Scorpio. And so, is what's happening, is this in alignment with our own desires and what we wish to embody, and what we wish to actually experience in the sensory world, the external world, what we see as the external world, right? And so with Saturn moving into Pisces just 55 minutes after the full moon, this is also helpful because it's really bringing in this Saturnian consciousness into our awareness on, okay, how are we taking action on making whatever it is that we dream and the embodiment of the divine essence or our own spirit, and how we connect to our own spirit and our spiritual dimensions, right? Are we in alignment? Have we been really taking actions that funnel our consciousness to build that in the world and in our experience, in our personal service to the collective as well? So being that Jupiter and Neptune are both planetary guides to Pisces, we want to be looking at, are our beliefs and any beliefs that we may have taken on from the collective unconscious, because Pisces has to do with the collective unconscious. Are those beliefs really in alignment with who we really are and the service that we are bringing to our own evolutionary path, as well as the collective evolutionary path. And so have we built that? Is that what, are we being reflected, this alignment with the building of that which we desire to become and to be and to experience in our own personal internal reality, and then how that translates into the reflections in the outside reality? Is there discrepancies there? Because if we're seeing that there are, this is the opportunity to take notice of that and to really prepare ourselves to realign at the next new moon. And the next new moon is going to be in Aries. So this is a particularly potent seed point. New moon in Aries, it's the beginning of the new cosmic year, right? And so we can really be looking at this wrapping up of this last full year, this last cycle of initiations that began at the new moon in Aries in 2022. And you know what's interesting is that in this full moon chart, Mars is in Gemini and it's waxing or approaching a first quarter square to Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is at 24 degrees of Pisces. And what's interesting about that is last spring in April of 2022, Jupiter and Neptune had a conjunction really, really close to that 24 degree mark in Pisces. It was around 23, almost 24 degrees. And so this began a new cycle in regards to our own relationship to the collective unconscious, and of course how we relate to the beliefs that are really in this almost I want to say catalog of the collective unconscious, where all possibilities are really possible for all of us. And it's really about selecting that which we desire to express from that spiritual dimension that contains all possibilities. And what is it that we see as the divine? What we see as our own personal spiritual essence. And therefore, of course, would be a quality of consciousness that we desire to grow in our own internal consciousness, Virgo, yin, right? This Virgo consciousness, and also as a contribution to the collective as well, and the collective unconscious, Pisces. And so this is where, what is it that we dream to be, and what beliefs support that? So that we must align with the beliefs that really support what it is that we desire to embody spiritually, as a spirit experiencing 3D reality in Earth consciousness, right? And so with Mars being in a first quarter square to Neptune, and this is approaching, so the energy's building, right? It's gaining momentum, and this can bring tension. It can bring challenge. We can have experiences coming at this full moon where we're feeling challenged and we're feeling maybe frustrated, because Mars can be where we recognize an irritation, in the sense that the irritation is asking us to pivot into new directions, change our direction, so that we're actually building the momentum towards that which we desire, Venus, desire to embody, Taurus North Node. So Mars square Neptune can really have us also experiencing and noticing how to make adjustments to how we're actually taking action on our thoughts, ideas, perceptions, Gemini, and how that informs our beliefs as well. What thoughts and beliefs are we acting upon? First of all, what thoughts are we acting upon? Because those thoughts and those perceptions, as well as the communications, how we're communicating, can really also be tools to inform us of what we're actually unconsciously believing. And where did we pick that up? Did we pick that up in the collective unconscious, And just because it may be a belief that's stirring around in the unconscious ocean of all possibilities, the ocean of consciousness, Pisces, that doesn't mean that we necessarily resonate to that belief. And it may be that that belief doesn't resonate for that which we desire to embody as a spirit experiencing earth consciousness, and that which we desire to grow in our garden of consciousness, which is Virgo. Remembering that Virgo is the priest or priestess that's tending the garden of consciousness, that, you know, must pull out the weeds that just do not actually align with the fruits that we desire to grow, that it's healthy for us personally, and that we feel is healthy for a contribution to the collective unconscious. So Virgo's discernment is really helpful to remember in this full moon. Discerning what's going on internally, discerning how we're working with our emotional realm, and recognizing that, you know, Virgo's always going to be about self-improvement, but that does not imply the shadow of Virgo, which can be self-doubt. So self-improvement is really just, oh, okay, I see this doesn't really actually contribute to the garden of consciousness I desire to grow. This belief system doesn't really resonate for that which I desire to grow. It would actually hinder the growth of that which I desire. So therefore, I must, you know, honor it for what it's been, and maybe it served me at some point in my own evolutionary path, recognizing that it's actually been a reflection to assist me in really recognizing what does contribute to the growth of which I desire and what does not contribute to the growth of which I desire, to embody and to be in service to my own evolutionary path and the evolutionary path of the collective. And so, you know, we can really be tuning into these areas that we can self-improve, but remembering that that is only to inform us to really make those pivots that's necessary to be in alignment with the growth that we desire for ourselves. And this can really inform us into the new seed points that are coming in the new moon in Aries and beginning a new astrological year. So I hope this is helpful. And I'll be coming back on. We'll be doing a Saturn in Pisces video. And you know what? I want to bring in some new cards. I bought a Moonology deck. And these are the cards here. And just really quickly, I want to pick a card that could be a point of focus for this full moon that may assist us in navigating between now and the next new moon, and how we're working with the information that we're experiencing, how we're working with the emotions that are informing us of where it is that we would be in most benefit to pivot in new directions, right? So let's see what we get. Beautiful. So last quarter moon, Taurus, be proud of yourself. So this is, you know, the last quarter moon is basically really looking at how we've developed emotionally since the last seed point, what we've been initiating, and how our emotions have informed that. And, you know, we can, with the last quarter moon, it's like really recognizing how much has been gained, you know, really utilizing the moon as a symbol of, at the new moon, it's dark, right? We don't see the moonlight, and we're seeding something in the dark, right? Planting it into the soil. It's very small. And it's, you know, the sun isn't reflecting, you know, the moon is not reflecting that light yet, right, of the sun. And so then as it moves throughout its cycle, it's gaining more visibility, right, because it's growing. And so we can see that symbolically, that then the sun's light is reflected from the moon. And so we can see what's growing and what's been growing from the dark, right? And then at the full moon, the result is there, right? So at the last quarter moon, and this one in this card being in Taurus, you know, remembering that Taurus is really about the embodiment of our desire. And it's the first earth sign. And when you synthesize the last quarter moon, it is really about really being proud of yourself and what has been built thus far, and then, you know, continuing to complete that process. And because it's a square, we can still feel tension, mostly from the outside world, something reflecting back to us of more work that we can be doing to actually really bring this thing into completion, and to let that also inform us of what is going to be our next initiations as well. And so really, I think we could be synthesizing this in this full moon to just recognize that we've done a lot of work. You know, we've been doing a lot of work with Uranus and Taurus, really updating that which we desire, and potentially needing to make transformations, big internal transformations, to really align with our own self-love and self-worth, self-esteem, and also understanding how to really love ourselves more deeply now, in this now moment, right? And so, you know, one thing to remember is that Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And we've done a lot of work with Pluto and Capricorn since 2008, really looking at our own emotional security, which is a moon or Cancerian theme, as well as a Capricorn and Saturnian theme. This is the inner personal reality and how we actually take action on behalf of our own emotional security, in honoring our emotional realm, our internal realm, and allowing that to be informative of us, and making sure that we're still in alignment with what is important to us personally and our own desires personally, rather than looking to cultivate emotional security based on other people's reality or what's outside of us. And so, you know, Pluto being at the last really half a degree of Capricorn, we've done a lot of work. There's a lot of you know, work that we can be proud of really doing what we need to do personally to embody the quality of consciousness that we desire to be, and to experience in our personal reality and in the world, right? So Uranus in Taurus is at 15 degrees. So we're halfway through this transit that began May 2018. And so we've got some time to go. And so we can be looking at that and looking at, are we in alignment fully with that which we desire to embody, especially with this full moon being in a trine to that Uranus and Taurus. And the North Node is in the last few degrees of the Taurus North Node, right? Then the nodes will move into Aries and Libra in July of 2023, and we'll be coming into eclipse season in April, on April 20th of 2023. So we're gearing up for this eclipse season, weaving in the Aries Libra, and still experiencing Taurus and Scorpio eclipses, but really beginning to wrap that up. So being proud of ourselves for the work we've done, but also continuing to align and being sure we're updated, our actions are updated with our own sense of self-value, self-love, so that we can attract from the outside world, from our Yang Venus, this Libran Venus, that which we desire to experience in the outside world as Pluto moves into Aquarius at the end of this month. So remembering that Saturn being in Pisces is going to really assist us to really funnel our consciousness. Saturn will be informing us of where it is we need to funnel our consciousness and maybe restrict the pathways so that our emotional realm, our consciousness realm is really moving towards whatever goals that we have in regards to making our dreams a personal reality. And that has to first happen internally so that the reflection can reflect that internal dimension in exactly the way that we intend and the way that we've envisioned it to be. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any thoughts, perceptions, insights, I would love to hear your comments. It always makes the conversation more rich. And if you found this valuable, please share the love, give this video a like, or share it with anyone you think would benefit from hearing this information. If you feel inclined, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video.